Good afternoon. I welcome all of you today on behalf of my colleagues on the court. We are delighted to be here at Rowan University on this special occasion. You are about to witness the ceremony that publicly marks the installation of John E. Wallace, Jr. as an Associate Justice of the New Jersey Supreme Court. As most of you know, in addition to being a son of South Jersey, John Wallace has long been a member of our judiciary family. For that reason, among many others, I am most pleased to welcome the members of his family who are here today, as well as Justice Wallace's friends and former colleagues, and our honored guests from the other branches of state government, from the federal bench, and from both the state and federal bar associations. This is the 6th time in 7 years that the court has said goodbye to a retiring justice and welcomed a new member. Each time, each of us on the court has felt a great loss and a great sense of anticipation and delight. Today we say goodbye to Justice James H. Coleman, Jr. It was, it seems, only yesterday that Justice Coleman was sworn in after his first 7 years on the court and his renomination by Acting Governor DeFrancesco. But it was actually over a year and a half ago. I said then that I was proud to sit with a man of his intelligence, clarity of vision, and compassion for those who are less fortunate. Today, I look back on his contributions to the law of our state with equal pride. His commitment to principle lies at the heart of his work and shines through the body of his opinions. Justice Coleman brought a unique perspective to our court that enriched our discussions and infused our work with some part of his vision. Indeed, he taught the rest of us lessons we could not otherwise have learned, and we will always be grateful. Jim Coleman's dedication to the search for justice and equality sets him apart from his peers. He has made a difference. Justice Coleman, we will miss your wisdom and your friendship. On behalf of all of us on the court, I wish you good health and good tennis in your retirement. And now, Reverend Floyd White will begin the official program with an invocation. Reverend White is from the Woodland Presbyterian Church in Camden. Reverend White.
May we bow our heads in prayer. O God, our creator and sustainer of all things, we're thankful for the opportunity to be here today. We pray a special prayer for this service. We pray, Lord, for the governor and his administration. God, we pray that you will grant vision to those who direct the court. We pray for Justice Coleman, granting wisdom and courage in days to come. And today we especially pray for Associate Justice Wallace and his family. In all of his future deliberations, Lord, help him to do the things that are right in your sight and not right in his sight. And Lord, we believe that today is the day you have made. We rejoice and be glad in it, because during this historic occasion, we can see, we can feel the goodness of the Lord in the land we live in. In God's name we pray. Amen.
Michael Jones, a young man who not so long ago graduated from the Washington Township School where Justice Wallace coaches baseball, has won awards for his singing. He will sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that the flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Michael Jones. I also want to thank Rowan University for graciously hosting this ceremony for our South Jersey Justice. Dr. Helen Giles G., Rowan's provost, will offer greetings.
Good afternoon. Governor McGreevey, Chief Justice Poritz, Honorable John E. Wallace Jr., distinguished guests, members of the Rowan Board, and fellow citizens. As Provost and Chief Academic Officer at Rowan University, I welcome you. Rowan has been the site of many historic and noteworthy events, among them the 1967 summit meeting between President Lyndon Johnson and Premier Alexei Kosygin. We are proud to add today's ceremony the swearing in of the Honorable John E. Wallace Jr. as Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of New Jersey to our esteemed history. So on behalf of the almost 10,000 students in academic programs ranging from our founding degree program in teacher education through engineering, communications, radio, TV, film, fine and performing arts, and business, from the bachelor's through the doctorate, the president, administrators, staff, and faculty and I, we extend our warm greetings to you and to the Honorable John E. Wallace Jr., our sincere congratulations. Thank you and have a good day here.
I now have the pleasure of introducing Governor James McGreevey, who nominated Justice Wallace to our court. Thank you, Governor. Governor McGreevey.
Thank you. To Reverend clergy, Madam Chief Justice, members of the Supreme Court, members of the bench, state legislators, and most importantly today, family and friends of Justice Wallace, welcome. I'd first like to thank Senator Wayne Bryant, who has fought so long and so hard for full and adequate representation of South Jersey, and in particular, for South Jersey representation on the New Jersey State Supreme Court. And for Senator Stephen Sweeney, for not only hosting us here today, but his great work, his thoughtful intellect, all that he has done in this district, which is considerable, and for being among the first, with Senator Bryant, for advocating Justice Wallace's attention before the New Jersey State Legislature. As I've said before, service on the New Jersey State Supreme Court is arguably the highest of callings for the legal profession. Our state Supreme Court enjoys a strong nationwide reputation for the scope and wisdom of its decisions, for its notable independence, and for their long history of judicial balance and fairness. It has brought great honor and integrity to our state. And together today, we have the pleasure of witnessing an individual whose intelligence, diligence, legal expertise, and judicial temperament well qualifies him to rise to this very esteemed body. With nearly 35 years of legal and judicial experience, Judge Wallace brings to the bench a legacy of professionalism and knowledge that will grace our state Supreme Court for many years to come. It was Justice Learned Hand, regarded as among the greatest jurists in this nation, who stated, "Right knows no boundaries, and justice no frontiers." I believe Justice Wallace, the first Supreme Court justice from South Jersey in more than 40 years, will champion the rights of our citizens and promote justice equally for all of our state citizens. This day is particularly long overdue and an especially proud day for South Jersey. A native of Gloucester County, Judge Wallace has made a career of rendering strong, wise decisions every day. And he takes up the mantle of a very distinguished jurist for whom we recognized earlier, James H. Coleman, Jr., who served this state with great honor and distinction since 1994. Judge Wallace began his legal career in 1967 at the prestigious Philadelphia law firm of Montgomery, McCracken, Walter Rhodes, and was a partner at Atkinson, Myers, Archie, and Wallace from 1976 to 1984. A graduate of the prestigious Harvard Law School, he is a member of the New Jersey, National, American, Garden State, and Gloucester and Camden County Bar Associations. He served as a Washington Township Municipal Judge from 1973 to 1981, and was appointed to the New Jersey Superior Court in 1984. In his first 8 years on the bench, he heard cases in the criminal, civil, and family divisions. Over almost 2 decades, he wrote decisions for a number of New Jersey's most important and arguably critical cases. He stood up for those who could not speak or hear when he decided the landmark case of Mosley versus Feminine Fashions, Inc., a landmark handicap discrimination case in 2002. And he fought to protect our children when he joined in 4 decisions upholding various aspects of Megan's Law. And he's also achieved perhaps the greatest and for some the most elusive goal, a full and very balanced life. And in addition to his distinguished judicial career, he is the proud husband of Barbara and father to John, Andrea, Kimberly, Michelle, and Michael. And if I can, on a personal note, also to recognize Barbara. Last Friday, my wife and I had the great honor of opening up the Special Olympics for the state of New Jersey. And Barbara has for many years served as judge for all of the children in the Special Olympics. For what Barbara does every day, she only bolsters the great assets of her husband. Judge Wallace also. Judge Wallace also served our nation as a captain in the United States Army. He continues to serve on the Board of Trustees of the University of Delaware, his undergraduate alma mater. He is a faithful congregant of the First United Presbyterian Church in Pittman, and in a true measure of his devotion to his community and his personal bravery, he's been a Little League coach and a high school football coach. Judge Wallace fulfills to me the admonition of the prophet Micah in Scripture, to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. Clearly, his devotion to his faith, his family, his community, and his nation, in addition to his wisdom, his judicial expertise, will continue to guide his work as the newest member of the New Jersey State Supreme Court. My congratulations to Justice Wallace, to Barbara, his family, and friends. But most importantly, New Jersey shall be better served for the service and wisdom of Justice Wallace. Congratulations and Godspeed.
It is always a pleasure for me to be on the same platform with our next speaker. Judge Sylvia Pressler is the presiding judge of the Appellate Division, a court on which Justice Wallace sat from 1992 until his elevation to our court. Judge Pressler.
Thank you, Governor McGreevy, Chief Justice Porras, Associate Justices, legislators, members of the judiciary and executive, dignitaries, colleagues, friends, just plain folks, and most particularly Barbara and the wonderful Wallace family. I am very pleased to be here. We left North Jersey yesterday at 4 o'clock and are delighted to have arrived on time. It is truly a great honor and privilege to speak for the Appellate Division on this joyous and splendid occasion honoring one of our own. 10 years ago or so, I had a telephone call from Judge Herman Michaels, who led the Appellate Division brilliantly for many years, but who, like me, is a very provincial North Jerseyan. He told me that Chief Justice Wallace was about to assign a South Jersey judge, John Wallace, to the Appellate Division, and he asked me if I knew anything about him. Judge Michaels didn't know him at all, and neither did I. Well, it didn't take long for all of us to come to know him well. As soon as John joined the court, we began to understand and to rely on his extraordinary qualities. I don't think I ever fully understood the meaning of the phrase, a gentleman and a scholar, until I met John. His outstanding intellect, scholarship, and overarching sense of what is right and what is just are matched only by his graciousness, patience, innate courtesy, evenness of temper, sensitivity to others, and genuine humility. He has been a most wonderful colleague and has taught us all lessons in true collegiality. Life in the appellate division is not too different from playing in an ensemble. Each of the 8 appellate division parts functions much like a string quartet. The trick is to know the score, to make your voice heard without drowning out the others, to make dissonance nevertheless harmonious, to keep up with each other and pick up each other's rhythms, and to avoid wincing at what you think of the false notes of others because maybe they aren't. Most of us are still learning that art. To John, it comes quite naturally. He stands his ground quietly but with authority. He explains the nuances of a legal problem that others have missed. He tells you what the right and fair result must be and how to get there within an acceptable analytical framework. And he never raises his voice. He pays careful attention to the views of others. And when he speaks, like the E.F. Hutton man, everybody listens. And well they should. You have to be living on another planet, or at least in another state, not to be aware of the euphoria that swept through the legal community when John's nomination to the New Jersey Supreme Court was announced. The appellate division, which he has graced and to which he has contributed so much for the past decade, felt that euphoria most keenly. We who have worked with him over the past 10 years are in a unique position to appreciate what a truly spectacular appointment to the Supreme Court the governor has made. Indeed, to describe the qualities one would, in a perfect world, want in a Supreme Court justice is to define John Wallace. Our own rejoicing is, of course, tempered by our sense of loss. We will miss John sorely, but at least the presiding judges will no longer have to lobby to have him assigned to their part, which is one of the annual agonies. Although we greatly regret John leaving our court, we willingly give him up, our best and our brightest, because we know that the Supreme Court is where he belongs. He brings to our state's highest court a unique depth of judicial experience. John is a judge who always knows just what he was looking at, very rare. And his experience is coupled with rare intelligence, diligence, an incredible appetite for hard work, and a passionate commitment to the ideas and ideals of functioning justice. And he writes a terrific opinion, literate, direct, painstakingly researched, and with a complete grasp of the record, beautifully organized and fully comprehensible. You may not always agree with him, but you know why, because you know exactly what he has said and why he has said it. I had the privilege of speaking at Justice Long's swearing-in, also one of ours, and I recalled then one of my favorite lines in American literature, which I came across when reading bedtime stories to my children. In the concluding sentence of Charlotte's Web, the E.B. White classic, the narrator, reflecting on the relationship between Wilbur the pig and Charlotte the spider, who saved his life, says, "It is rare to have a good friend who is also a good writer. Charlotte was both." That applies to John, too. He is surely a very good friend. He is also a very good writer. Read his scores of published opinions. There is hardly an area of the law that he has not illuminated with clarity and perceptiveness over the last decade. The appellate division honored John at its dinner a couple of weeks ago. Judge Michael Patrick King, who I understand is known in legal circles in these parts as the guru of South Jersey, regaled us with stories of John's athletic prowess. He was formidable in every sport. What is, however, really impressive and what speaks volumes about this man is not simply the fact of his personal athletic achievements, but his longtime dedication to youth as a volunteer football and baseball coach. This past fall, I found myself rooting for the Washington Township High School football team even more passionately than I customarily root for, if I dare say so in Eagle territory, the New York Giants of New Jersey. I really cannot fathom how he can devote the time and energy required by these pursuits without missing a beat in his judicial work, but I can assure you he does. He is in every sense, literally and figuratively, a man for all seasons. The New Jersey Supreme Court has proud traditions and a richly earned reputation as the outstanding highest state court in this country. John Wallace's appointment to that court will enhance his luster, and his contributions to its progressive jurisprudence will be significant. And he takes with him to that new assignment the profound and unbounded admiration, respect, esteem, and affection, and the great expectations of his appellate division colleagues, all of whom forgive him in advance for his future reversals of their best opinions. It is a most extraordinary man and a most extraordinary jurist who now takes his place on the Supreme Court. The people of this state owe a great debt of gratitude to Governor McGreevey for this inspired appointment and to the Senate for its confirmation. We salute them, but most especially, we salute our friend and colleague, John Wallace. Thank you.
Our next speaker is no stranger to South Jersey, having been assignment judge in the vicinage made up of Gloucester, Cumberland, and Salem counties before he retired. A longtime friend and colleague of Justice Wallace, retired Judge Samuel G. DeSimone will address you now. Judge DeSimone.
Governor McGreevey, Chief Justice Peretz, members of the New Jersey Supreme Court, members of the New Jersey Appellate Division, distinguished guests, family and friends of Justice John Wallace. What an honor it is for me today to say a few words about my beloved colleague, Justice John Wallace. I first met John when we were both young, and I had a little more hair and was a little thinner than I am today when I appeared before him in the Municipal Court of Washington Township in 1973. And I knew John exhibited the traits of a great judge at that time. I appeared before him about once a month until I took the bench in 1975. And the mark of a good judge is when your client is found guilty and fined about $5,000 with a suspended 6-month sentence, and as you're walking out, he says, "Counselor, that was a fair judge." That was John Wallace. John then was sworn in as a judge of the Superior Court, and I had the honor of doing it in 1984, and he served with distinction in every division of the Superior Court, family, criminal, and civil. John was an assignment judge's dream because whatever assignment that you gave him, he did it with efficiency, diligence, hard work, and good judicial sense. He never complained, and one of the traits that I admired most about John was that he treated a small claims case with the same fervor and diligence and patience as if it was a complex employment contract with several issues. He was beloved by staff, attorneys, litigants, and of course his fellow judges. John, during that period, exhibited what I consider the true virtues of a great judge. He had legal ability, legal knowledge. He had patience. He worked hard. And most important, his demeanor was outstanding. He was a great judge, and there was much sadness in 1992, from our bench at least, when he was appointed to the appellate division, where he went on to write more than 80 opinions and was a valued member of that great appellate division. I must say something too about his wonderful wife, Barbara. What a team they are. They have given so much to the youth of South Jersey. John and his coaching abilities, and Barbara with her gymnastic abilities, and their involvement in the community, because, as I've always said, a nation's treasure is its youth. And Barbara and John have given so much to the youth of South Jersey. They are just wonderful, wonderful human beings. So today we honor Justice John Wallace. I wish him a long, healthy, and productive career on the best Supreme Court in these United States. And I'm very proud to have been his associate on the trial bench. I'm very, very proud of being his assignment judge for several years, and very, very proud to be considered his friend. God bless John Wallace.
Heather Gilstrup, whose family has been friendly with the Wallace family for many years, will now play for us. Heather. Before I ask Justice Wallace and his wife Barbara to step to the podium, I want to say a few words about our new justice. This is the part of these proceedings that we have anticipated with delight, the public swearing in of our colleague. We welcome him to the court. How fortunate we are that Governor McGreevey chose him to join us. I believe that each person on our court makes his or her unique and special contribution to the group. And I know that Justice Wallace will make his mark in his own way. I have not known him in the way some other speakers at this podium have, but I have known his work. As an appellate division judge, he authored a prodigious number of published opinions. He has heard many difficult cases and made many difficult and sometimes unpopular choices because he followed the law as he best understood its meaning. We can ask no more of any judge. Yet his approach to the law, like everything else, as you have heard today, is tempered by his humanity. He is devoted to his family. He is a mentor to his law clerks, to the young people he coaches, and to new judges. He has carried out his responsibilities with dignity and grace. Like the man he replaces, Justice Wallace comes to our court well-versed in the law. Like the man he replaces, he understands the importance of being a person of color in a public and high-profile role. And like the man he replaces, he will, we know, use his enormous talent to serve the people of this state. To quote from 2 recent newspaper articles about our new colleague, he has a big heart and a big mind. He is, and I could not resist this one, a mensch on the bench. If the Wallaces will step forward, I would be most pleased to administer the oath of office to Joan. Oh, I need the oath.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. We got started a little bit late, so I don't want you to take away from your afternoon. Governor McGreevey, Chief Justice Peretz, members of the Supreme Court, past and present, judges of the state and federal courts, members of our state and federal legislature, distinguished guests, family and friends. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did the youthful, the talented, and the performances of Michael Jones and Heather Gilstrip. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Heather. That was beautiful. I want to express my gratitude and thanks for this great honor to serve as a Supreme Court Justice. This new position gives me a great sense of pride and humility. One does not get to such a position without the efforts and contributions of so many, many people, some who are no longer with us today, and others like you who have come to help me celebrate this occasion. While it is not practical for me to compliment and thank everyone, there are a few important people that I feel necessary to express my thanks. After all, in my view, this celebration is as much yours as it is mine, and I want to recognize many of you. Before I begin my heartfelt thank you to so many of you, I want to add my congratulations and well wishes to the outstanding judicial career of Justice James Coleman Jr. on our Supreme Court and on the preceding courts during the last 4 decades. He is a dedicated family man who has served our Supreme Court with great distinction. Justice Coleman's unending quest for justice and fairness will live on through his thoughtful opinions. Justice Coleman, you are certainly a hard act to follow. I will do my best to emulate your mark of excellence on the court. Thank you. Governor McGreevey, thank you so much for placing your confidence in me by nominating me to our Supreme Court. I am fully aware of the magnitude of the responsibilities I will have, and I will work hard to justify your faith in me. I am particularly grateful that you suggested that the ceremonies take place here in South Jersey. It is always nice when you can hold a celebration close to one's home. I grew up in the adjacent town of Pittman, and I attended church here in my early years in Glasgow at the First Baptist Church. Thank you also for the great assistance that your staff has given me throughout this entire process. Thank you. Now, of course, I still would not be here today if it were not for the Senate confirming me. I want to thank the Senate, and in particular, Senator John Adler, Senator Wayne Bryant, Senator John Matheson, Senator Stephen Sweeney, and Senator Shirley Turner for all of your support in making this day happen. Thank you. Chief Justice Peretz and the other members of the Supreme Court, thank you for your warm welcome and in making me feel at ease as I join the Supreme Court. Each of you telephoned me upon my nomination, and you have taken your time from your busy schedules to make my transition run very smoothly. The advice you have given me will certainly serve me well over the years to come. The court has been blessed with outstanding justices who have been recognized nationally for their scholarly treatment of very difficult issues. I applaud you, Chief Justice, and the other members of the court for your independent thought and the outstanding national reputation that you and your predecessors have achieved. I will certainly try to continue the great tradition of the court. Judge Sylvia Preston, you know and understand the respect and admiration that I have for you as the presiding judge of our appellate division. I can never thank you enough for what you have accomplished there in general and the help that you have given me in particular. First, you don't know this, but even before I met you, I knew that I would like you merely from your first name. Now, why is that? Since Sylvia is not a common name, but it's the same name as one of my sisters. So I concluded early on that you would be a special person. I was right. While I could go on and on about Sylvia Pressler, I will just offer this. You write and comment on the rules governing our courts. You're the chief administrator for the appellate division, and you carry a full load of cases, taking the most difficult opinions to write yourself, to realize that you are brilliant, a true scholar, and a gifted jurist who has served our court system in exemplary fashion. I am privileged to serve with you, Sylvia Pressler, and I love you for it. I cannot fully express the pride I have in each and every member of our appellate division. Each member is bright and works very hard in addressing the difficult issues in a fair, unbiased manner. During the last 11 years, I have been privileged to work with 9 presiding judges and more than 20 other side judges, and I can unequivocally declare that I have enjoyed working with each and every one of them. My only regret is there are some judges on the appellate division that I have not had the opportunity to sit with. I can only say I look forward to reading your excellent opinions for many years to come. A special thank you to another colleague of mine. You've heard the name Judge Patrick King, for all the help he's given me over the years. First, in recommending me to be on the appellate division, and later in his timely and friendly advice as we meet and talk over issues on a daily fashion. The Westmont Chambers, where I sit, is certainly a great place to share office space with a great group of judges. Now, I would like you, if you don't mind, to please welcome and applaud our appellate division, past and present judges. Would you please stand so they see you? Judge DeSimone, thank you so much for those kind words this afternoon. I remember you as the best assignment judge one could ask for. One of your many attributes is to give lavish praise to the people you work with. You always look for the good in people and try to raise the level of those who work with you. You demanded that we work hard, but you were flexible and made sure that all Vicinage 15 judges maintain a healthy and fair attitude towards the citizens we serve. I must admit, though, at first I did not quite understand my first assignment when you said, "John, I'm going to send you to Camden in the Family Court Division." But in a short while, I was extremely happy that you did. I learned so much from the Dean of Family Judges, Judge Robert Page, and the assignment there allowed me to meet and get to know some fine judges in Camden County. After 2 years in Camden, I returned back to Gloucester, where I had the privilege of working with distinguished and dedicated judges there. I will continue to look forward to our annual Gloucester County Clerks and Judges Dinner and functions like our past retirement dinner the other week with Judge Donald Smith. Sam, I hope that you and Eileen stay well, enjoy your many grandchildren, and continue to travel throughout the world. Would the judges of Vicinage 15 and Vicinage 4 Camden please stand so we can recognize you? My fellow judges, please. I am blessed in that I was raised in a loving and stable family. I was fortunate to have my parents, John and Evelyn, present when I was first sworn in as a Superior Court judge on May 31st, 1984, with Judge Elliott Hurd. At that time, I made note that if there was a course on parenting, my parents should be the teachers. My father worked long hours in a dry cleaning plant and eventually purchased the plant. He taught me that every job is important, and whether I was sweeping the floor or waiting on a customer, I had to do a good job. While he was demanding, he was fair and compassionate. My mother was a warm, loving person and very active in charitable events. She made it clear that it was important to help others. I could ask for no better role models than my parents. Although my parents are no longer living, I know that they are here in spirit and basking in the light of this occasion. My parents did another good thing for me. They chose wonderful godparents, two of whom are present here today. My godparents know full well how my mother and father would feel on this occasion, and they have expressed those same feelings to me. Please join me in recognizing my godfather, Garfield Jackson, and his wife, Ann, and my godmother, Marion Buck, and her husband, James. Would you please wave your hand? I know you're in the back. I am very pleased to be able to hold this ceremony here at Rowan University because my parents met here early in the 1930s, when this school was then known as the Glassboro Normal School. My father grew up in Glassboro and lived on Carpenter Street, which is just around the block, and is now part of the university property. My mother was a first-year student here then. In addition, we celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary here when the college was then known as Glassboro State, and my wife is a graduate of this institution. You can understand why I am grateful to Rowan for allowing me to hold this celebration here today. Thank you, Rowan University, for being a very gracious host. Many of you know that I am the fourth child in a family of four. I have three loving sisters in the order of their birth, and I thank this terminology to Governor McGreevy. Shirley, Sylvia, and Jackie. Shirley is a registered nurse and social worker. Sylvia is a music teacher, and Jackie, who started out as a college professor of sociology, now is the Dean of Professional Services at Delaware State University. As the youngest child, it is alleged that I received special treatment. That may be true, as Shirley and Sylvia certainly tried to spoil me, but Jackie made sure that equal treatment was the rule of the day and balance things out. Please meet and greet my sisters and their families. Shirley, Sylvia, and Jackie. I began my judicial career in 1973 when a young enrolled Township Committee of Washington Township asked me to be the municipal court judge. What is all the more peculiar is that I was not of the same political party as the majority of that committee. However, I knew most of the committee members for various volunteer activities in town, and they decided they wanted to have a resident to be the local judge. That was the start of my judicial career, for which I will always be grateful. At least two of those gentlemen are here this afternoon. My friend Shelley Belson and his lovely wife Elaine, and my friend and football opponent, although I did not know that until later years, from Temple, now Judge John McNeil. Would the two of you please stand so I can see where you are? And now, I'm sure that it didn't hurt my chances to become the judge, the fact that the township attorney at that time was Robert Francis, now Judge Robert Francis. He and I were good friends and started school back in kindergarten. So we go way back, and Bob certainly had a lot of influence, and I want to thank Bob and his lovely wife Peggy for all the help that you've given me over the years. Most of you know, yeah, please. Most of you know and you've heard that my activities outside of law are very important to me, in particular athletics and education. I've been involved with sports since I was a small child, and after my playing days were over, I turned to coaching football and baseball. This has enabled me to maintain a very special relationship with some very special young people. I started playing organized ball at the age of 9 and had outstanding coaches. They taught me a lot. In particular, not only the skills of the game, but they taught me to be enthusiastic anytime I played a sport. And most importantly, to play within the rules of the game and to respect your opponent. I have tried to emulate their good qualities in coaching in my efforts when I coach my own young men. I've coached 13 to 15-year-old baseball players since 1971, and since 1991, I've had the privilege of being a volunteer coach at Washington Township High School. I am grateful to the Board of Education there for allowing me to do that, and for Coach Tom Brown and his staff for giving me that opportunity. While most of you exercise, I hope, on a regular basis, my general exercise is limited to walking my dog Mandy every morning. In addition, I do try to get out and be a little more active and have some rigorous activity with a group of basketball players that are around the same vintage as me, so we don't have some young men that are too active. We started playing with the original players in 1970, and while some have stopped and gone on to other things such as golf, which is a little less rigorous, each morning, early Sunday morning, we get together, and the players range in age from 42 to 73. And the 73-year-old Ben Lynch is as active as any of us. My goal is to continue playing as long as Ben does. If he stops, then I stop. Our weekly routine allows us to have fun, and what's more important, to forget about the pressures of our daily routines. I would like to ask my basketball club members, any players and families of players that I have coached, any coaches that have coached me or coached with me, to please stand so I see where you are to make sure I say hello to you this evening. Many fine educators, as well as trustees of higher education, have enriched my life. Before I became a Superior Court judge, I had the privilege of serving as a member of the Board of Trustees of Gloucester County College. More recently, you've heard that I've been given the opportunity to serve as a member of the Board of Trustees of the University of Delaware, where I attended college. Believe me, there's nothing more rewarding than working with administrators and trustees, especially at the university that contributed so much to my education. I'm extremely proud that last year I was given the opportunity to introduce my college baseball and one of my football coaches to the University of Delaware graduating class as he was their commencement speaker. I want to publicly thank President Dr. David Rozelle from the University of Delaware for giving me that honor. I believe that Dr. Rozelle is here this afternoon. I do know that there are several members of the university present, and I will ask you to stand. On another very important educational level, I want to thank and recognize Eileen Toms and her 4th grade class from Clayton. The students of Mrs. Toms' class took the time to make and send me personalized cards of congratulations. Mrs. Toms and her husband, Paul, are high school classmates of mine, and we have stayed good friends over the years. I would like at this time, if members of the University of Delaware family, members of the Gloucester County College family, classmates of mine from Pittman High in Delaware, and any teachers of mine, and I believe my 6th grade teacher, Mr. Ed Wolf, is present, to please stand. And let me call you. Thank you. There are so many more of you that I would like to personally thank, but I'm sure my grandchildren will say, come on, Pop Up, would you sit down? Would you sit down? Still, I want to publicly thank, in a general way, each of you that have helped me to obtain this position. Whether you are a senator, a member of the Assembly, president or former, and I might say this, the Honorable Jack Collins really paid me a tribute when he appeared at the Senate Judiciary Committee to advance my cause, and I want to personally thank him, even though it wasn't in my text. I know this is his home, and it's my home, and I want to thank you, Jack Collins. Thank you, too, to my many fraternity brothers, my former law partners. Thank you again and again for the assistance that you have given me. Thank you, too, to so many of you who sent me such warm, wonderful cards, email, or call to congratulate me. On more than one occasion, your inspirational comments have brought tears to my eyes. My father taught me long ago, at opportunities such as this, I should stand up to be seen, speak up to be heard, and sit down to be appreciated. Well, forgive me, Dad. I have not followed your instructions. I know that I've been speaking too long, but there are still a few special people I need to mention. I am proud of the fact that almost 19 years ago, I made a decision and asked Sheila Tunstall, now Sheila Silva, to be my legal secretary. She has performed exceptionally well and has worked extremely hard to put this afternoon's affair in order. She, along with many others, have done a stupendous job, and I want to thank her. My law clerks all love and respect Sheila, and I do too. I'm also grateful for the time and effort that my law clerks have given me over the years. Sheila and my law clerks are like a second family to me, and they mean a great deal. Would you please welcome Sheila and 25 of my past, present, and future law clerks who are here today. I know some of you are thinking, gee, I hope he doesn't forget his wife. Well, I could not do that. Barbara's been my best friend for a long, long time. We met at the early age of 15 when Wyatt Johnson, who I believe is here today, I heard it stand up. There he is. Thank you, Wyatt. I owe you a debt of gratitude. Introduced me to Barbara one day on the beach in Atlantic City. I have been impressed with her ever since. She is the mother of our 5 children and is as active a person as anyone I know. She is a dedicated volunteer, a diligent worker, and an all-around good person. She is also a gymnastics judge, a softball umpire, and a field hockey judge. I could go on and on and on, but I won't. Recently, she was invited to attend and judge the gymnastics Special Olympics, that is, scheduled in Ireland later on this month. She is bright, she is beautiful, and she is the mother of our wonderful children. Barbara, I love you. One of the great outcomes of an occasion such as this is that I get to share it with our 5 children. And my 5 children get to hear words of splendor about me that they never would hear. They probably don't believe, but I'm going to make sure that this is taped and make them hear it over and over. We do not often see one of our children, Andrea. She lives in North Carolina and is now getting her master's in physical therapy, but she made a special trip to be with Dad. I'd like you to meet, again, my 5 children, John, Andrea, Kimberly, Michelle, and Michael. And soon to be members of the family, Elisa and Alyssa. And our 3 grandchildren, Jonathan, Ashley, and Desmond. I am extremely proud that so many of you have come to share this afternoon with me. Before we go, I do want you to meet my extended family. Almost everyone is here. Would my extended family please stand so we can all say hello to you? Please. Now, I made note that my parents are not with me today, but Barbara's wonderful parents are. They've been just like family to me. She and her family have been very special. And I would like John and Lily Coles to stand, and their brother Richard and their sister Shirley. Thank you so much for sharing this beautiful day to me. It may be raining outside, but it's sunshine in my heart. Thank you.
We will finish the program today with a benediction by the Reverend Bruce Gillette of the First Presbyterian Church in Pittman.
We rejoice, for this is the day the Lord has made, and we are blessed. The Chief Justice referred to John as the mensch on the bench. I will tell you that the name John appears many times in the Bible, and it can be translated gift of God. He has been a blessing to all who are gathered in this room, and you have been a blessing to him and to his family. Now receive the benediction. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord be kind and gracious to you. The Lord look upon you with favor and give you peace. Alleluia. Amen.
That concludes the pomp and the circumstance, but not the celebration. Justice Wallace and his family are hosting a reception in the rotunda and have invited everyone to join them. Please do. Thank you.